Hello and welcome to this exclusive Real Business show. I'm Jane Constantinis. Now today I'm delighted to be joined by serial entrepreneur James Caan, and he's going to be talking to me about the forthcoming iawards that are being hosted by the Department for Business Innovation and Skills in association with QinetiQ, and James is actually chairing the judging panel. James, welcome. Thank you for coming in to talk to us. Tell us about these awards and why it was important to launch them now.
Principally because I'm very passionate about innovation and technology. I think that Britain used to be, a powerhouse in this area. You know, we did actually invent the light bulb. So, to me, I think over the last 10 or 15 years, I think we've become so focused around financial services, and that's become such a big chunk of the British economy. And I think because of the focus on that, we've sort of drifted away from engineering, science, technology. And I think most of our brightest graduates today, think that financial service is the only choice. So my vision was that, if we've gone through a very difficult period economically, both as a country, and a global economy because of the collapse of the credit crisis, etc., what is going to get Britain out of this? And what is going to be the next catalyst that's going to take Britain, into the future? And I happen to believe it will be science, technology and innovation. And therefore celebrating that, recognising that and rewarding people who've made a difference in that field, I thought was the perfect moment.
Who's taken over from us then in sort of world innovation domination?
I would have to say it's probably the US, because if you look at the impact that Silicon Valley has had, interesting enough, if you look at the top 100 companies in the world today, the top 10 of those are probably going to be in the field of innovation, science and technology, whether that's Microsoft, Intel, Google, Amazon, eBay. And that sort of says it all to me, that if that is where the US focused, and because of the involvement of Silicon Valley, those companies today dominate the planet. And so therefore, you have to give credit that the US saw into the future what the global economy would look like, embraced it, recognised it, rewarded it, put infrastructure behind it, and lo and behold today they are the largest economy in the world. Now, I believe Britain has all the characteristics of being able to do that. We're just not harnessing it.
And so this is about inspiring new innovators by celebrating the successes of those who are already out there and doing it. So tell us a little bit more about the awards and who might be eligible and how you apply.
I think the awards really are going to be categorised in conventional categories. So you'll have the innovator of the award, the company with, that's made a difference both to UK, domestic and international. But it also could be a company. One of the things that I came across recently was there's a component in the iPhone that's a British component. Now, if you took that piece of technology out, the iPhone wouldn't work. So we've been instrumental in making that product what it is today. So it's not just about the gloss around innovation, but it's the intellect that goes into, changing the way that we operate, that we work and how we live. It could be in the field of bioscience, it could be the field of green technology. What I'm looking for is to recognise people who have made that difference. And I think that if we can put some success around that, it should encourage people to say it's something worth doing. I think at the moment, some of the things that we do are probably the world's best kept secrets because we don't reward or recognise that sort of innovation. So I'm looking for people from every aspect of science, technology and innovation where they have made a difference. They've created something that's had both a domestic, a social, an environmental or an economic impact on the economy, on how we live.
It might just be worth mentioning at this point that the website to go for more detailed information about the categories and how to apply is iawards.org.uk. It's not just about then inventions, because I think perhaps the word innovation in some people's minds will be just about the new widget or so on, but you're talking much more broadly about making a difference.
Yeah. I mean, so it could be somebody right now, the environment is a really, really big issue. Even in Dragon's Den this season, probably 20% of most products were introduced had an environmental impact. So, it could be something, people creating a new, one of the, in fact, was on last night, was somebody invented something where, in the aerosol can, you could create the same impact, but using air rather than a chemical product. So there's a whole range. It could be somebody who's made a difference to the electric car. It could be somebody that's designed a component that's used in a computer or in an iPhone or something of that nature. So we're looking across the board. It could be an engineering achievement that's made that industry more efficient or more effective. So I'm not just looking for that individual that's brushing his teeth, that's just had that eureka moment. I'm looking at both startups, SMEs, and also corporates, because I think corporates invest so much in research and development that as a result of their investment, we achieve some of the great ideas that then become blockbuster successes. So the iawards is there to capture that entire journey.
And the deadline is the 16th of September.
It is indeed.
Yes. And the awards are going to be given out November?
Yes, November the 16th.
Fantastic.
At the Science Museum.
Ah, how very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
And of course, a lot of this relies on or makes us think about what it takes to be an innovator or an entrepreneur like yourself. And we've had a couple of questions in that I'd just like to have a look at now. Tim Liggins from Partners in Enterprise wants to talk about time management. Any clues for successful entrepreneurial time management?
That's probably one of the biggest challenges, I think, of every entrepreneur, because I think we're all pretty much the same DNA. We're a bit obsessive, we're a bit workaholic, and we're incredibly focused. I think for me, it's two components really. A, to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to surround yourself with the right people, because it's evident that you can't do it all yourself. So to a large extent, your success is very dependent on the quality of people who you have around you. The better they are, the more resources that you have, the more effective you become. Secondly, I think it's the ability to prioritise. I think, and I'm probably the biggest victim, as entrepreneurs, we have an idea a minute. The question is, how well do we prioritise some of the things that we do, and what are they nice to haves or are they critical? And the one sort of sanity check that I constantly ask myself every day, is what I'm doing a nice to have or is it critical? And if you don't do that, you can feel like a busy fool, really.
And that's interesting, because that leads on nicely actually to a question that's coming from Rob Wicks, because you're talking about those decisions. He says he bases a lot of his decisions, business decisions, on his gut instinct, not just because the numbers are good. How do you feel about that?
I think you need both. I think it's very rare that I make a decision just because the numbers look good. I have to feel right about the opportunity. And, recently when I remember when I was at Harvard University, we actually did a course on what is gut instinct. People think it's an emotional feeling. Actually, it's not. Gut instinct actually is based on experience. Your mind, when something comes along and we say it's gut instinct, what does that really mean? What that actually means to me is my mind goes back in time to understand how often I've come across that particular issue, how much experience I have. So you can quantify gut instinct with experience. So I don't think it's as flaky as it sounds, but at the same time, I'm a strong believer that you have to feel good about that decision, not just because the numbers look attractive.
Yeah, interesting. Finally, just give us 30 seconds on what the impact of winning one of these awards might have on an individual or a business that is successful.
Great question. I think it's a really big point, because this is not a trade body, this is not an association, this is an award given to you by the British government. In my mind, I'm been very fortunate that in my career I've received many different awards, but they've always been an organisation or an association or a trade body. But to get an award by the Minister for Science and Technology that has the British stamp on there, for me is that's quite an achievement, that I've done something that my country has recognised me for. To me feels, like a BAFTA. It's a to me it's a significant award. So I think anybody that wins it, that's a great testament of your success.
Fantastic. Our time management means that we've got to stop now. It's been very interesting. Thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing who wins the awards.
Absolutely.
Thank you. For more information, and if indeed you'd like to apply for an iAward, then log on to the website, which is iawards.org.uk. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.